Okay, there we go. So before we get started with our formal presentation, we wanted to just share a few quick Zoom meeting norms. We do ask that if you are comfortable that you have your video on, that does help with interaction, but we also understand and respect that if you are not comfortable with your video on, that you have that off. We also ask that you keep yourself muted during the presentation. However, we will have time for questions and answers throughout the presentation, as well as at the end. And you can unmute yourself to ask that question, but you also could put that question in the chat. Julia, our student assistant, will be monitoring the chat and will share those questions throughout the time. An important part of our time today is to make sure we know who is here. We want to make sure all student participants get checked in. So Julia right now will put in the chat the Google Doc for registration. So please take a moment to share that or to fill that out so that we know you're here. What's important about that is once you do that, you will be entered into a prize drawing. One of our wonderful employers, Consolidated Electrical Distributors, is sponsoring our prize package. And you can see to the left of the screen, we have this cool tech package. It's a tripod to hold your phone and some chargers and a selfie light. We have some Career Center pad folios and screen wipes. So everything to get you tech ready. So please take a moment, fill out that Google Doc so we know that you're here. And Julia will put that in the chat a couple times throughout the session. So if you didn't get a chance to do it now, we can do it towards the end. But quickly, our agenda for today is we'll give a quick overview of virtual fairs and kind of the new world that we're living in. Amy will talk a little bit about Career Fair Plus basics and creating your profile and your account. We'll spend a majority of our time talking about searching for and finding employers, as well as scheduling one-on-one meetings and group meetings with employers. We have a few tips for success, as well as some Q&A at the end. And again, we can have questions throughout the duration. So we're going to jump right in. Virtual fairs overview. So what is a virtual fair? We have been living in this virtual remote world for almost a year. And I will tell you, none of us a year ago thought we would be doing this, but here we are. And we're pretty pleased with how it's gone so far. So a virtual fair, a virtual career fair is just like an in-person fair, except for it's all taking place online. It really is an opportunity for employers to connect with candidates, to talk about job opportunities, internships, networking, kind of learn about that world of work. Career Fair Plus is the platform we have decided to use for our virtual fair. There are many great things about Career Fair Plus, but one of the pieces we really liked is that it offers two ways for candidates to connect with employers. One of those ways is through hosting one-on-one meetings where it is you and a recruiter from that organization talking about job opportunities, internships, learning more about that organization. You can also participate in what is called a group meeting, where it is you and up to 50 other students in a virtual video room, engaging with an employer to learn about the organization, what their culture is like, what their industry is, what they do, what those career opportunities are. So we will go into much more detail about the difference between one-on-one and group meetings and how you go about scheduling those with employers. Through this past year, we have learned there are many benefits to virtual fairs. And one of them is there's no long lines and feeling like you need to talk over people. If any of you have participated in our career fairs before, they're very well attended, which is wonderful, but sometimes that can feel a little overwhelming as you are trying to connect with an employer. So those no long lines, no talking over people, it also gives you the opportunity to prepare in advance. Because you are scheduling one-on-one or group meetings with a specific employer, you know who you're going to talk to before the conversation happens, which allows you to really prepare for that in advance and stand out to the employers and get a chance to really kind of wow them with what all the things you learned about their organization. So those are some great benefits. In addition, for our employers, it really allows them the opportunity to participate in fairs that maybe they weren't able to physically travel to before. So it really has expanded the network of opportunities for both candidates and employers. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Amy, who's going to talk about Career Fair Plus basics, setting up an account, and creating your profile. So go ahead, Amy.
Thanks, Christy. Hi, everyone. My name's Amy Schuster. I'm also a career advisor in the career office. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about your profile and some of the Career Fair Plus basics to get you a little more comfortable with the system before we go into kind of how to navigate the scheduling piece and the employer piece. So like Christy said, Career Fair Plus is the platform that we're utilizing. You can access this platform on your desktop or on a mobile app, and it really is up to you and what you feel comfortable with. My recommendation from a personal standpoint would be to utilize both of these in complement to each other. The desktop version, you can access that through careerfairplus.com, and then the mobile app you can get on the App Store or Google Play, depending on what phone type you have. What I like to do with both of these, I feel more comfortable with my camera and my sound system and my internet access. I feel more comfortable with that on my laptop, and that's just my personal preference. If you feel more comfortable with your camera and your headphones and however some of those connectivity issues and technological things come through, if you feel more comfortable with that on your phone, feel free to use the phone app. When we used Career Fair Plus last semester, we had students about 50-50 using desktop versus app. So it really is a personal preference for you. What I really appreciate about being able to utilize both is that if you're on your desktop, you can access Christy and I are going to talk about like some of the favorite options and the note options in Career Fair Plus, but what you can have is kind of your mobile app open while you're accessing it on your desktop to be able to read some notes, access the research that you've done on the employers. Maybe you've written down some questions that you want to make sure you ask during your employer interaction. So it really is set up to be used together if that feels comfortable for you, but both are fine. You can create accounts on both. It'll still sync to the same account for you. The picture in the top right corner shows you what that looks like when you sign up on the desktop, and you'll want to click that student or candidate button to be able to create your profile. So this is the screen it should prompt you with after that, which is to create your profile. The reason that you want to create your profile on Career Fair Plus is because this is how you can be eligible and set up your account to be able to sign up for schedules with employers. So it's going to ask you for a photo. We recommend that you highlight a photo. You know, in our normal pre-COVID world, we have these interactions face-to-face, and we know the power of face-to-face interactions. So we want to recreate that as much as possible in this online setting. So if you can upload a professional photo, that's definitely what we recommend. You can include your LinkedIn URL as well. Again, it allows the employer to be able to connect more with you and to be able to follow up with you and you with them as well after your interaction. You'll want to create a password, and then it will have like a standard terms of service box that you need to check on the very bottom as well. The next page is going to have you upload your resume. Like we would have recommended pre-COVID, to take a bunch of resumes to a career fair so you can hand them out. The same type of thing is evident in Career Fair Plus. So you want to update your resume and upload that to the system. So when you make those schedules with employers are able to reference your resume while they're talking to you, before they're talking to you, and after they're talking to you. So if you need any assistance in updating your resume and getting that up to par, you can utilize our virtual career lab hours, which we have in a virtual context most of the time during the week, and then update that here. If you want to skip this step when you're creating your profile and come back to it later, that's absolutely fine too, but you do need to update and upload your resume before you can have those employer meetings. Then your screen should look like this, which is like, congratulations, you made an account, you did it. It's not rocket science, but it will highlight the upcoming fairs. And now you're ready to search for that Grand Valley Career Fair task on Career Fair Plus, and then you're able to start setting up meetings. The meetings that you're able to schedule them opened up yesterday. So when you get to that screen, and Christy will show you what that looks like, it's fair game. So you're able to book that once you find that Grand Valley Career Fair on this platform.
Great, thank you, Amy. At this point, I want to pause and see if we have any questions about creating your profile, Career Fair Plus, virtual fairs. Okay, I'm not hearing any questions, so we're going to continue on. And I will say that this is really the heart of the presentation here. We're going to spend quite a bit of time talking about how you can search for and find employers and then go about scheduling either one-on-one or group appointments. So let's just jump right in. So Amy did a great job talking about how you create your profile and sharing your resume and all of that information. So now you are ready to actually find the GVSU Career Fair. So you'll see in the top part of your screen with the green background, there's a search bar. So you very easily type in Grand Valley. I typed in Grand Valley and it automatically popped up with Grand Valley State University one upcoming fair. So you just click on that, which will then bring you down to the bottom part of the screen with the Laker blue and black background. And it shows specifically the fair. It says its full name as the GVSU Virtual Career Internship and Summer Job Fair. The date is Thursday, March 18th from 2 to 6 p.m. So you click on that and it brings you to what I call the home screen of our GVSU Virtual Fair. This page right here has a lot of information included on that. We're going to go through all of that kind of one by one. But one of the most important things you want to make sure of is that you are in the GVSU Virtual Fair. And you know that you are because at the top of the screen, it has it listed again with the date and time. So when I look at this home screen, I see it in 3 different columns. I see the column on the left, which I consider like the filter and saved column. The column in the middle where all the employers are listed, you'll see they're listed alphabetically. And then the column, the larger column to the right, that's kind of the meat and potatoes, the heart of this page where you can really dive deeper into the employers and the organization and learn more about that, and where you will find out about scheduling opportunities. So we're going to tackle this with the way that my brain works. And the first place my brain goes is to this middle search bar. When you are here, this is where you will be searching for employers that are participating in our career fair. So you see the search bar right there in the top center. You can start typing in an employer's name and it will auto-populate and pull that up. If you are not sure of what employers you want to search for, then you can just as easily use the scroll bar and scroll down through the list. You'll see they are listed alphabetically. I also want to point out that right under the search bar, it says all employers, 95 of 95. We currently have 95 employers who are participating in this virtual career fair. And right now my list is showing all 95 of them. Well, my screenshot isn't quite showing all of them, but if this was in the live demo, you would see all of those employers. So that is the first place I think that you would go to look for employers. The next place my brain then goes is to the right side, which is again, kind of the meat and potatoes and where the heart of the information is included. So the employer that is showing on your screen that we're using as an example is Consolidated Electrical Distributors. They are one of our sponsors, and you'll see they are listed as a featured employer. Every time you come to this home screen, that featured employer will refresh with another sponsor and a featured employer. So it might have Lake Michigan Credit Union, it might have Northwestern Mutual, but for our example today, we're going to focus on CED. So in the right column, you will see there's a favorite button with the yellow star. So I have saved CED as one of my favorite employers. And this is a way to easily come back to this employer, save them as your favorite. You know you want to schedule with them, you want to do some research. This is a nice, easy way for you to do that. To the left of the favorite, you'll see there's a website. So all of the websites are linked within the system. So it's a nice, quick, easy way for you to go to their website, do some research, find out more about the organization. The other nice piece is this notes portion. So as you are doing research, you can type notes right into Career Fair Plus. So this is a really good user-friendly tool to help guide you along as you are doing research for employers. Now, continuing on with the notes and favorites, we're going to move to the left column, and you'll also see that notes and favorites are listed in that side as well. Now, you will come back to the Career Fair Plus platform many times as you continue to look at employers and schedule meetings. So the left-hand side is a nice, easy way for you to find that and to filter that. So this is a screenshot from my student demo account for Career Fair Plus, and you'll see I don't have any notes on employers, so that's why it's 0 next to that. But you will see I have 5 employers that are saved as my favorites. So as I come back and I've done research on CED and I want to click back into their page, I can just go right to my favorites and it will bring it right up. So continuing down the left-hand column, you will see there's some filter options. A great way for you to start searching for employers is by using some filters. The most common filter students start with is, of course, major. You will see there's a scroll bar, and right here it says accounting. All of our Grand Valley majors are listed in there in alphabetical order. So later on in the presentation, Amy will actually pull up the live Career Fair Plus, and we can show you more details about areas and how you can filter. You can filter by major, you can filter by class year, you can filter by full-time or internship. It's a nice, great way to start tackling looking at 95 employers. If you just have no idea who you're interested in meeting with, but you want to, you're a criminal justice major, so who is interested in speaking with me as a criminal justice major? I'm looking for an internship. That is a nice way to then filter. Once you filter those employers, they will show up here in this middle column, and then you can click on them and they will populate again into this right-hand column where you can then continue to do research. So again, this is a page you're going to come back to. It feels pretty user-friendly, but I just wanted to point out some of those features and how you can start searching for and connecting with employers. The next piece I want to point out is this blue bar that says ready to meet with an employer. I've done my research on CED. I know they are open to a variety of majors. I think I would like to see what those opportunities are to connect with them as an employer. This is actually, it's not a button, it's a scroll down, but since it's a screenshot, I just wanted to highlight that for you. So I'm going to move to the next screen. And this again is below the previous screen, ready to meet with a recruiter. I will tell you one of the best things about Career Fair Plus is they consistently remind you of date, time, place, and interaction type. You'll see right underneath that blue bar, full-time opportunities and internships. That is the name of the schedule that the recruiter, who you can see her name is Amber McAllister, created. That means she is open to talking to anyone who is interested in full-time opportunities and or internships with Consolidated Electrical Distributors. The schedule time, she has time available from 2 to 6 p.m. That's the duration of the fair. I want to now focus on this interaction type. So the interaction type could be actually a variety of options. You'll see this lists a Career Fair Plus video room, which is the embedded video tool in Career Fair Plus. And I would say probably 90 to 95% of our employers are using the Career Fair Plus video room. However, there is the opportunity for employers to use an external link like Zoom or Skype or Microsoft Teams, or even a phone interview if they prefer a phone interview. So when you are scheduling one-on-one meetings, you'll want to make sure you're paying attention to that interaction type. Again, Career Fair Plus is great at consistently having this information on almost every screen you go through when you're booking a meeting. But just pay attention that you might have a one-on-one meeting in Career Fair Plus video room, and the next one you have might be via Zoom. So that is just something you'll want to pay attention to. The next piece you'll see is there are 19 available time slots that Amber has created during the 2 to 6 time frame. We'll come back to that in a minute, but I do want to point out that there's some great information, some overview that she provided about the organization. Some of this probably could have been found in their website, but she also included it in their page. She also included a link to a YouTube video, which I love. And if there are employers who have included links to videos or more information, I highly encourage you to check that out. They did that for a reason, so that would be really important to view that. So I've done my research on Consolidated Electrical Distributors. I think I would like to go ahead and schedule a meeting with Amber. So I'm going to click on this 19 green button, which will then bring me to the schedule details. And again, you'll see that top part of the screen consistently showing the date, the time, the interaction type. You'll see this is, again, a one-on-one schedule using the Career Fair Plus video with Amber as the recruiter. Going down, you'll notice that there are 19 times available. They're highlighted in blue. This screenshot captured the ones that last until 4 p.m. But if I clicked on this show more, it would list the full duration up until 6 p.m. The next piece I want to share with you is this prerequisites. So there will be employers who have established some prerequisites for students to schedule a one-on-one meeting with them. And then there will be employers who don't really have any prerequisites. They're happy to talk with any student. Now, those prerequisites could be specific majors, it could be specific class year, it could be specific GPAs. I think the best example of that is our accounting firms. They're pretty clear. They want to talk to accounting students only. They probably wouldn't want to talk to me as a criminal justice major. So in looking at our screen, you see that I meet all of the prerequisites for connecting with Consolidated Electrical Distributors. The school year, they have sophomore through master's and alumni. They're looking for internship and full-time. Great. I meet the requirements. I think I'm going to go ahead and book a meeting with Amber. So I think 2:30 sounds like a great time to meet with Amber. So I'm going to click on this 2:30 button, and it's going to pop up this next kind of a confirmation question. You sure you want to book this one-on-one meeting? And again, this is where Career Fair Plus just consistently is reminding you of date, time, and place. So you will see 2:30, it's a one-on-one video room, Amber. Yep, this looks great. I'm going to go ahead and click the green yes button, which will then pull up this meeting confirmation page. Same information at the top. It now says I am booked from 2:30 until 2:40. So it's a 10-minute meeting with Amber. What you'll notice that is different on this screen is in the top right corner where it says join meeting. This is the link that you will use on the day of the fair to connect with the employer. So this link here is for the Career Fair Plus video room. We can show you what a link would look like if it is an external link like a Zoom or a Skype or Microsoft Teams. We do have a few employers that are using that, but it would still be located in that top right corner. And that's the link that you will be using to connect with employer the day and time of the fair. You'll see right below that is a cancel meeting button. And this is really important. If you are scheduling meetings and later you find out that you can't make it at that date or time, we ask that you cancel that as soon as possible. That frees up that time slot for another student to meet with that employer. So students have started scheduling meetings. Scheduling started yesterday, and it will take place through up to the day of the fair and actually throughout the day of the fair. So if it comes the day of the fair and there's an emergency and you can't make it, you can still cancel that appointment. And we ask that you do, again, because it frees up that time and that opportunity for another student. The recruiters will not be mad at you for canceling. They understand that things happen. It is a best practice and it's professional to let people know if you are unable to keep an appointment in a meeting. So we ask that you do that. So that would just be hitting that cancel button and then following the prompts from there. That is scheduling one-on-one. We can move on to group sessions. I just want to check in to see if there are any questions about what we just shared.
Hi, Christy. I actually have two questions for you.
Okay.
My first, I know you talked about the ability to create notes within Career Fair Plus. Do you know if students are able to view those notes when they're already in the meeting with an employer?
Yeah, that is a great question. And that goes to Amy's suggestion about utilizing a desktop or a laptop version and a mobile device. You can access those. You would have to be using two devices. So our recommendation is to use a laptop for the interview. I think Amy shared, like, sometimes that feels like the distance between the camera and yourself feels a little more comfortable. And then you could have the app on your phone and pull up the notes from your mobile device. So yes, you are able to do it utilizing two devices.
Definitely. Thank you so much. My next question is, you talked about the prerequisites for companies, and if students don't meet those prerequisites, like for example, if they're younger than the students that the employer is looking for, would you recommend students still make appointments like for networking purposes
Right.
or getting ahead of the game kind of?
So I have a couple thoughts on that. If you do not meet the prerequisites that the employer has established, the system won't let you schedule a one-on-one. However, if that employer also is offering group meetings, that could be a way to connect with the employer. And a lot of times, employers are using this as a way to interview potential hire like candidates, right? Like, so they really want to talk to the students who they could potentially hire. We all know employers also want to talk to students that maybe they're not going to hire them this year, but maybe next year. Maybe you're a first year student this year and you're not eligible for their internship, but next year you may be. So we don't want students to feel like, oh, that employer doesn't want to talk to me. It's just that they are using this as a time to really kind of narrow down and, you know, get their candidate pool. So my recommendation would be if they are offering a group meeting, that could be a great way to kind of network and learn more about the organization. The other opportunity could be if they have within the employer has within their own profile, their LinkedIn profile page. I think it's appropriate to send a message and say, yeah, I can't schedule, I don't meet the prerequisites, but I'm interested for future years. And there could be some connection in that way. But this, if you don't meet the prerequisites, the system will not let you schedule a one-on-one.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so we're going to move on now to scheduling group meetings that I talked just a little bit about. It really is very similar to scheduling one-on-ones with just a few minor tweaks. So I would say of the 95 employers we have coming, we probably have about 9 or 10 employers that are hosting group sessions at this point. So not all of them are hosting, but quite a few are. So First United Credit Union is an employer that is hosting a group session. So if you look to the right of the page, you'll see the recruiter's name is Nicole. She has some one-on-one appointments. Looks like she has 3 time slots available between 2 and 3:10. But she also has, if you look down here, you will see the schedule type is group. And she has this open drop-in time for a teller position. It's full-time or part-time. And the group is scheduled from 2:30 until 3. So I'm interested in learning more about what it's like to be a teller at First United Credit Union. So I don't want to take a one-on-one time, but I think I just have a few questions I want to pop into that group session. So I'm going to click on this little icon with all the people on it, and that brings up the schedule detail. And again, it's very similar to a one-on-one, but the difference is you'll see the schedule type will say group. This does show the interaction as a Career Fair Plus video room, and it has Nicole as a recruiter. And here is where she has her LinkedIn profile. So as I just talked about, if you're not able to schedule a one-on-one, but you wanted to connect with that employer, if they have their LinkedIn profile, that's how you could find that. So it's a group opportunity from 2:30 to 3. I'm interested in doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and click that blue Book My Spot Now button. But I want you to know that the group sessions are really meant to drop in at any time. So it is scheduled from 2:30 until 3 o'clock. But the intent behind the group sessions is really to give that flexibility for students. And this is where I want to pause for a minute and let you know a few of kind of the behind the scene kind of rules with scheduling. The Career Fair Plus system does not allow students to schedule consistent back-to-back one-on-one meetings. So what I mean by that is I just scheduled a one-on-one with Amber from 2:30 to 2:40 p.m. The system will not let me schedule another meeting with Northwestern Mutual from 2:40 to 2:50. It forces you to have some of that, what we call transition time, in between one meeting to another to allow for, to take a drink of water, to maybe if that it went over by a 30 seconds or so, the system will not let students do that. What it will allow is for you to have a 2:30 to 2:40 with Amber with CED, and then I can book this group appointment or this group session with Nicole from 2:30 to 3, because this is meant as I can pop in anytime. So let's say I finish my time with Amber at 2:40, I grab a quick drink of water, and at 2:45, I join the group session with Nicole. So it will allow you to do that. Now, employers who are hosting group sessions have the flexibility to use that time however they want. There may be some who have a presentation that is planned. Most of them are using it as a Q&A drop-in time. Come learn about the organization, ask some general questions. If you're a career explorer and you just want to learn more about the industry of credit unions, you can do that. So what's nice about this is it does give you the flexibility to really maximize your time during the fair, that since you can't book consistent one-on-ones or consecutive one-on-ones, you can, based on time, pop into some group sessions and really maximize your time with that. So I think I want to do that. I want to know what it's like to work at a credit union. So I'm going to click on that book my spot now, and then another confirmation detail will come up for that. So that was a lot of information. Like I said, that is really kind of the heart of the presentation and kind of the nitty gritty, right? That's what you all want to know how to do, is how to schedule that. When Amy shows later on in the presentation, Amy's going to again pull up live Career Fair Plus. She can show you where you go to find all of your appointments as you are scheduling them. My advice to you is to keep track of that, but there is also a way to do that within Career Fair Plus. So I'm going to pause and see if there are any questions.
One thing I want to share too, Christy, is that, the profile piece that I showed earlier with, your name, your password, creating your account, including your resume, that didn't include the profile piece. And now I've created a few different student accounts to be able to get some of these screenshots and navigate the system. And Career Fair Plus typically has either prompted me at the beginning to fill out that profile, like with your year at Grand Valley, your GPA, what your major is, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes it has prompted me to fill that out when I'm ready to schedule with an employer. So on Christy's screen where it was green and it had a check mark that said you meet all the prerequisites. Occasionally for me, it has been like a yellowy orange that says you might meet all these prerequisites when you complete your profile. So sometimes when I've gone in there and it doesn't give me all the green check marks, if you still try to schedule it, it will prompt you then to put in all your information. So in the different accounts that I've created on the app and then on the desktop, and it kind of prompts you at different points, but it will prompt you to fill out that profile so that you get the green check marks and are able to schedule with employers.
Great. Thanks, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You ready to share some tips for success?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, before the fair, tips for success, we recommend that you register, sign up with your Career Fair Plus account, get comfortable with the system, and register and sign up for those meetings early. So what happens is, scheduling opened yesterday to be able to schedule those one-on-one and group sessions with employers. And we recommend that if there are some employers that you're interested in talking to, schedule those meetings early. They do fill up. There is a finite number of appointments that employers have available. So we recommend that you do that early and are really proactive about that process. You can favorite employees and check back often, like even between yesterday and today, there was another employer that was added. So check back often, because employers, as much as we want them to have everything in their profiles set up perfectly by yesterday, sometimes they're still adding new information. So make sure you're utilizing those functions of Career Fair Plus, because it really allows you to do your research and to prepare for this career fair really proactively. So make sure that you're checking back often, and then do your research, right? We want to make sure they're providing some specific links, YouTube videos, websites, information that they want you to know already in Career Fair Plus, but you can also do your own research on the side. So doing some Google searches, figuring out what kind of job positions they have posted. The more you can research the organization, the better questions you can ask, and the more impressive you can be in those 10-minute interactions or those group meetings. It's also really important to practice your pitch. So 10 minutes is not a lot of time, even if it does seem intimidating if you haven't done this in the past. So practicing that pitch and really finding a good rhythm of introducing yourself, sharing more about, what you are looking for and why you're wanting to have this conversation. If you at all need to practice your pitch with one of the career advisors or one of our career connectors, we are so happy to help you with that process. So you can feel free to stop in during our virtual Career Lab hours. Julia posted those into the chat. So you can feel free to check in there, and we'll also have a student kind of help desk Zoom room during the fair. And so you're welcome to come in and just get some of that nervous energy out with some career advisors and our Career Center staff before you go into those meetings. So we are here to help you, and we're happy to help give you the tools you need to be successful in these interactions. A couple of tips on the day of the fair. So a quiet space. I know sometimes those are pretty hard, few and far between to find, but finding a quiet space so that you can have a really professional interaction with that employer, a professional background. If we know anything about this virtual world for the past year, it's that blend between being a student and a professional and being at home and in your personal space. Those are really combined. So making sure you have a professional background, clean up what you have behind you. The intention behind that is that it's not distracting. So my background right now, in my opinion, it's super blank and I need to put something on the wall. But at the same time, none of you are distracted by anything that's behind me because nothing's behind me. So the goal behind that professional background is just that there's no distraction. So take things off your dressers, make sure your doors are closed, your closet's closed. If you have a bed in the background, we don't typically recommend that, but if it has to be and there's no other option, make sure it's made, those types of things, right? Make sure that there's the least amount of distractions behind you, and then a good internet connection. We had technical difficulties this morning before we signed on to this, so we know that this exists. But having a good internet connection is really important. Some internet routers allow you to pick a primary device. So if that's a possibility for you, that's what I'd recommend. If you are at home and that's not possible, I would recommend turning the Wi-Fi off on your phone. If that device is sitting right next to you, make sure that if you have roommates or family members that you live with, make sure they all know that you're having this professional interaction and they can be respectful of some of those noise and connectivity concerns. So making sure that good internet connection is helpful. We also have some rooms that you can reserve on the downtown campus and in the Allendale campus too. If you don't have a good space to be able to do these interactions, we have some spaces that you can reserve through the Career Center. So you can feel free to call our Career Center to be able to reserve some of those spaces to do those interactions. And then good, headphones or headset, make sure you have some clear connections that you've tested out. If you're using AirPods or any other type of wireless headphones, make sure that they're charged ahead of time. Professional dress and appearance, right? The camera really only sees us from here up. So let's make sure that we have professional dress and appearance in the parts that the camera can see. Again, the goal behind this is to be at the least amount of distracting as you can be. So if we can really up our professional dress and appearance, we're going to be less distracting than we would have otherwise. I'm a big proponent of you can't really overdress, but you can underdress. So if you come to a meeting in a full business suit and that's surprising to the employer, that's going to be surprising in a good way. But if you come to a meeting and you're in a hoodie sweatshirt and they expected a business suit, that's going to be surprising in a bad way, right? So you really can't overdress unless you're going full tuxedo, but you can underdress pretty easily. So making sure that the parts of you that are seen by the camera are professional in that way. And then lastly, being on time. So, Christy was talking about how to organize those meetings and how to look through that. The actual camera feature on Career Fair Plus allows you to sign into that room. It puts you in kind of a waiting area like Zoom does, and you virtually knock on the employer's door in the room, in the Career Fair Plus video room, and then make sure that you're on time for those meetings and being a good steward of the employer's time, because they're balancing a lot of student schedules throughout the day. So making sure that that's a priority, set whatever reminders you need, make sure that you're on time for those interactions. Employer follow-up and thank you. So what to do after the fair. Okay, so we've talked about how to prepare, what to do day of, and then what to do after the fair. So employer follow-up and thank you. It's really important to follow up. These employers are meeting with a lot of different students during the day, and you might be meeting with a lot of employers. So make sure you're taking really good notes. You can use the Career Fair Plus system to take those notes, or you can take them on whatever notes organization system you have. But you can write to the recruiters, thanking them for their time, indicating any interest that you might have, following up on those conversations. Our recommendation is that you do that virtually, because we live in a virtual world. Not very many people are going into offices. So the days of mailing something to an office are, I think, over for right now. Maybe they'll come back, but they're over for right now. So communicating with them via email or via LinkedIn, whatever you can do to connect with them and thank them for their time after that interaction is going to be very positive. We typically recommend doing that within 24 hours of the interaction, and then make a follow-up plan and use it. So, how can you connect with them and make those employers part of the next steps? So do you want to try to apply for the internship that you talked to the recruiter about? Do you want to ask questions about more full-time positions after graduation? How can you make that follow-up plan and fit those recruiters and interactions into that? And the Career Center advisors are happy to help with that process too, if you need some help creating and executing that plan. And then following up with your contacts regularly, keeping track, having some type of master list of the people that you're interacting with, and making notes. And it allows you, again, to network in a much better and smarter way. So just keeping track of a lot of those interactions and making sure that you can circle back in a really professional and kind way, to keep you on their radar and them on your radar, if that makes sense. This is the virtual career fair checklist that we have inside of the app and the desktop app as well. These are just things to keep you on track and make sure that you're ready for those interactions. We've talked about, I think, almost everything on here, if not more. And so these are just, if anybody is like me and likes those checklists, this is a great one to be able to highlight. So feel free to take a screenshot with your phone if you want on the screen. But these are the things to really be prepared for, to make sure that that's a really professional and productive interaction and event for you.
Great. Thank you, Amy. At this time, we can open it up to questions. If you want to put them in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself and ask, you're welcome to do that as well.
I just had a quick question about the virtual fair checklist that was just on the screen. Is that available anywhere on the Career Center website, or like, is that available for any students to see anywhere?
You know, I don't know if it's on our website.
It is on the app.
Oh,
So it's
yes,
on the app. I'm not sure if it's on our website. That's actually a really good question, and we can upload that to our prep page. But it is on the app. So you're able to access, it's like Career Fair 101 is one of the drop-down boxes on the app. And this is where that's housed in there.
Thanks, Julia. Okay, so there's still time for other questions. I just want to do a quick plug for, as Amy shared, we have career advisors. All of our services are offered remotely. So if you want to connect with a career advisors, you can schedule remote appointments. They can help you with your elevator pitch, your resume review, all of that. We are happy to assist with. As I mentioned when we started our session, this is part of our Work Like a Laker conference that officially started yesterday. with the kickoff, and it ends in our culminating event as the virtual career and internship fair. So just a few sessions to highlight. There's one later on today about researching employers and how to evaluate workplace culture. If that feels like a place you might want to be interested in, kind of some tips to do that. We have an interview prep session using the STAR method, which is situation, task, action, result, and reflection. We have the virtual world of work that is coming up on Thursday, which is an opportunity for you to visit and network with employers and kind of learn more about the world of work. And then, of course, practice interviews. Those are scheduled for this Friday coming up. There's still some time to sign up for all of these if you are interested and if you want to participate. And of course, the big career fair next week, Thursday. Okay, one last chance to check in. Julia will put the check-in link in the chat. So if you haven't checked in, make sure you do that so you can be entered in for our fun prize package from CED. Thank you to CED. And thank you to all of you. I do want to circle back if anyone is interested in Amy can open up Career Fair Plus, the live platform, and do some demos. If anyone is feeling like they want that, we're happy to do that. We don't have to do that if you feel like you got it covered with what we shared. The thing that we keep saying to ourselves is we didn't really know how to use Career Fair Plus as much as we do now when we started in the fall. We were kind of learning it as we were going through it, and somehow we all kind of figured it all out. So we have total faith in our students and your ability to navigate these virtual platforms. Some of it feels pretty intuitive and some of it feels a little like maybe unsure, which is why we wanted to host this session so that you're feeling confident about utilizing the platform and you're making sure you're getting those connections that you want. So we are happy to do that. If you would like that additional resource, we're happy to stick around and do that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see you all.
Any other specific questions that you have for Christy or I? And again, I have my